So, first of all, what was your name and what district are you running for?
I'm Doug Brown. I'm running for District 6.
Okay, Doug. And I was recently in Arizona. There was a bill is being proposed to they actually passed it, was to ban ethnic studies curriculum on the basis that it fosters resentment towards a class of people and undermines faith in the American system. Would you support a similar ban in APS or not?
I have the same concern, and I think if the opportunity were to develop, I would support that, because I've thought the same thing, that when you start teaching children that they're victims, then you create resentment because a victim has to have an oppressor.
Right.
And there's somebody they're gonna hate, and they feel helpless if they feel like they're victims. Therefore, they don't excel.
Right.
If you teach kids that they're capable, that they've got something to offer, that they're victors and not victims, then they're going to excel and they're going to do their best. So I think that's what we ought to be emphasizing, not the victimization of ethnic groups.
And then, and it's kind of a similar question, but it's around language.
Yeah.
I know a lot of states have kind of gone back and forth on this. California just re-legalized dual language or bilingual education. Arizona, it was banned. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of in terms of, do these dual language, Spanish language programs where kids will go to school and have maybe 90% of their day in Spanish, do you think these are promoting assimilation, or are they promoting divisiveness? Or is that the best way to teach English?
I didn't know the nature of those
Spanish?
programs. Now, I learned Spanish on my own 25 years ago, so I could communicate with people that didn't know very much English. But I don't see using Spanish in the schools as a long-term solution. I think having people that know enough Spanish to teach English to the students is the way to go, because I think students, they need to assimilate into the culture. They need to learn English, the language of our culture, in order to be effective and be effective in the economy, to have good jobs. So I think the use of the Spanish or some other language is only a gateway to get them assimilated and proficient in English.
And then the last question is kind of around safety in schools. What do you see as the primary threats to the safety of our students, and what would you propose doing about that?
Boy, that's a good question.
It's a hard question.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you're talking about the bathroom issue, but I think I'm concerned about the transgender bathroom policy. I think the previous practice in APS, where they provide special accommodations, staff bathrooms or whatever for those transgender students, was really adequate to solve the problem. But I've thought about this. I would support building some additional single-stall bathrooms in the schools, because I've learned that, and I've talked to teachers, and there's a lot of bullying that goes on in bathrooms. I think for safety, kids might be better off having some single-use bathroom facilities, and there are probably other things we can do. I haven't thought as much about those other areas.
Do you see the bathroom issue as part of a cultural war or a big cultural battle that's being fought right now, or?
It's a cultural battle, but it really doesn't seem to be about safety. We could solve the safety problem, as I mentioned, without having to let people go into
So you don't think
bathroom.
there's a safety issue there?
I think the safety issue is that transgender students are maybe unsafe. You know, a boy dressing as a girl, acting like a girl, going into the boys' bathroom could get beat up.
Right.
So you need to make some accommodations, let them use some other facility where they don't have to be in that dangerous situation. But that's a 0.1% of the students, but it even happens to other students. So there are some safety issues, but I don't see them as overriding concerns, other than that one that I mentioned.
And then my other question, and this is a pet question because I'm a science teacher.
Okay.
What's your view on the teaching of evolution in schools?
I believe right now we're in a position of indoctrination into evolution. That it is taught as the one answer, the truth.
Right.
I really believe that we're in a pluralistic society, and we need to help students and give them access to evaluate all of these ideas. Of creation, there's evidence for creation, there's evidence for evolution. They need to be able to see all the evidence and not have a system that censors all the evidence for creation, and still, they ought to just be able to look and have all the data presented to them, rather than trying to indoctrinate them in any particular worldview.
Right. Okay. And thank you very much.
Sure.
Right. And if voters want to find out more information about your campaign, how can they get in touch?
I've got a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's Facebook.com/Doug Brown for APS District 6.
Okay.
That's how they can find it. I've got, my email address is doug.brown.abq@gmail.com. So,
Okay. Awesome.
yes.
Thank you very